Thank you very much for joining us in this GBI webinar. We will be focusing on the topics that are related to connectivity. Most of it would be around how what is going on in the industry and how you will be able to match up with the industry standards while not investing a lot of money. If you, in terms of your budgets, you don't have to burn your IT budgets for the sake of connectivity. Now, we will start with a quick introduction, followed by, just give me a second. We'll be starting with are you able to see the slide transitions in here? Okay, cool. Good. GBI, we'll start with the quick GBI introduction, followed by what is changing in the connectivity space and the networking space, followed by the GBI enterprise solutions, what we offer in order for you to meet your requirements while making sure that you do not invest a lot of money, as in like lowering your TCOs and increasing the value on your spends, and like enhancing the ROIs and whatnot. So let's get started. GBI started as a carrier's carrier back in 2008, and from that time onwards, we started building our networks into more sort of technological and enterprise friendly landscape. So we understood the cloud is growing, and we wanted to make sure that we are the pioneers of cloud connectivity in the region. So we engaged with Microsoft and AWS and Google and all of the popular cloud providers and the international site locations, including the DRs and whatnots, and we connected them into our locations. A quick timeline study, then in 2012, GBI expanded our networks into Europe and into Far East, adding close to about 20 plus POPs and NNIs from the UK all the way to Singapore. In 2016, we started the enterprise connectivity. So we started focusing more towards the enterprises. So we were the first and the early adopters of the SD-WAN, and we built our headends and in different POPs. So we have got Dubai POP, which we have got the headends for our SD-WANs. Then we have got a redundant SD-WAN headends in sitting in Frankfurt to assure our customers of 100% connectivity. And in 2018, GBI connected to Microsoft, and we became the Express Route C1 connectivity providers. And recently, we upgraded our connectivity, whereby now we are connecting directly into Microsoft Backbone, and we connect in 3 different locations, namely Dubai, Frankfurt, and Amsterdam. We plan to increase more points of connectivity into Microsoft Backbone, but this is where we are starting right now, especially considering the focus and the main connectivity data center that Microsoft recommends is Europe for the Middle East region. So primarily it's either Amsterdam or it's Dublin. So Dublin is a backup, as we know that, for Amsterdam. So Dubai, Frankfurt, and Amsterdam, this is where we can potentially carry your traffic from your regions. Our network extends from practically all around the world. So our main network, which is owned by GBI, is from Singapore all the way to the UK, and all the countries in between. We connect them on our own network, on our own cables. There are subsea and the terrestrial cables, so they're the mix of both. And then we have got our partners, close to about 60 partners on which we are able to reach as far as Australia or in the US or Canada or to South America, anywhere you would prefer, even to West Africa. So like all the way to South Africa and whatnot, we are able to reach through our partner network. Now, our network, we provide, we guarantee 4 nines of SLA. And since we are a carrier neutral cloud connectivity provider or carrier neutral network, well, this gives us the leverage to connect to pretty much any carrier anywhere and enable the enterprises. Now, how this will benefit you as an enterprise is something that we're going to be talking about in upcoming slides. So I'm not going to take a lot of time in there, and just so this is our network map. If you see integrated subsea south route, which if you talk about connecting to the cloud providers like AWS, Google, or Microsoft, or Rackspace, or even SAP, most of their data centers are in Europe, which are serving the Middle East customers. So we've got 2 routes going into Europe for that sake, and the route that passes through Egypt, that's our south route, and our primary route, which is passing through the north. If you see the terrestrial redundant north route, that goes through Iran and Iraq, and that is the shortest route to get to Europe, and we guarantee close to 90 ms latency from our POP into the data center of your choice. So connecting into AWS, Oracle, Google, SAP, or IBM clouds, we connect via Equinix. And if you prefer to use Microsoft Azure and you want to connect to the main data centers in Azure, we're able to get you to Azure on our own network, since we are the C3 providers and we are connecting directly to Microsoft Backbone in 3 different locations. Now, our services, they're services/solutions, so they extend from cloud connectivity. If you just want to connect to the cloud, like on an MPLS from your location point to point, we are able to do that. Then we have got SD-WAN solution, which I'm going to talk a lot about in the coming slides. IP transit and capacity services. Now, these are services which we offer to certain enterprises who like gaming companies and others who are looking for very niche requirement. But primarily we'll be more focused on the cloud connectivity and the SD-WAN aspects of it. Going forward, the industry verticals that we focus on, majorly it's finance, government, media, retail, energy, and corporates. It can also include oil and gas to a certain extent. So with finance, we understand most of these are closed verticals. For example, finance, you cannot put anything on the cloud. It's, at least from the Middle East, there's a mandate from all the GCC countries and even extended Middle East region. They do not put anything financial from the banks or from insurances into the cloud. So we have got niche solutions based on that, but you do have your DR sites and you do need redundancy. So DRs are mostly for major financial organizations. They are either located in Singapore or they're located in Europe somewhere. We've got custom solutions which we can provide you to carry your traffic, DR traffic, which is of course very, very critical. It needs heavy security, but the requirement for latency is not that much because usually they are batch processed. Real-time DR backups rarely happen, but even if with that case we are able to get you the right kind of speed and reliability to have your infrastructure backed up into anywhere in the world in any DR site as you prefer. Government. Now there's a bit of a shift with the government these days. The government have slowly started to move their workloads into Azure. primarily because of the security and the US government also trusting Microsoft and a few other governments around the world. So that has given some sort of like leverage to the governments to shift their non-critical data. Still a lot of critical data which pertains to the security and everything, definitely that has to stay within the country, should not go out, but non-critical data files which goes in petabytes, all up for the governments. So some government bodies producing as much as like few hundred terabytes, and that data really requires storage, but at the same time it increases the cost to a different level. So all of this non-critical data has been moved to the cloud and can be easily accessed, where with the different kind of offerings that Microsoft or AWS offers for the storage itself. So that is one of the shifts. Governments, UAE government has substantial data in the cloud, then from obviously non-critical. Qatar government is going on that side. Bahrain is also considering that, few government bodies with a non-critical data infrastructure. So yeah, this is the right time, and GBI guaranteeing end-to-end connectivity from our POP into Azure is some sort of like a security backup, which you would get from our side. If you prefer to use our cloud connectivity solution, we'll be able to deliver your traffic very securely on AES 256-bit encryption, which I'm going to be talking about in upcoming slides. If you prefer not to use MPLS end-to-end, if you use MPLS, definitely you pay a lot of money, but you get the best of security, obvious. Media and retail and energy and corporate sectors. Now, these guys are pretty much open to the cloud, and they have got different kind of requirements. They have got many branches. They have got international branches. They have got cloud flavors in there. They're heavily processing business intelligence, analytics, machine learning. They're leveraging all sorts of bots in it, and all of this requires data transfer, and not to forget IoTs and the sensors. So all of this combined, now these sub-verticals are using it heavily, and the heart of all of this sits with the connectivity. So we're gonna look at what is actually going on in terms of connectivity landscape. Now, there's a lot of talk about analytics and business intelligence and whatnot. So where exactly is it required? Now, most of you would know and would understand this because this thing is everywhere. But what we need to carefully analyze is what are we going to do with each individual sort of unit. So healthcare is definitely, they have got loads of connected devices. They use VDIs. They use this healthcare systems where one hospital needs to interact with the other, or one health organization needs to interact with another international health organization, probably taking a consultation from other side, or probably sharing the data the patient has moved to the other side. Now this is already there, has been happening there, but at the same time the transfer of the data and all of these glitches, they take time. It takes a lot of effort, and it's a time-consuming effort, basically, because you have to wait for a certain period of time. Then entertainment is coming up next with the OTTs and other platforms getting bigger. All of these are looking at the wider range of eyeballs that they can reach out to. Smart homes, smart electricity and water, also parking management. Now all of these are requiring IoTs as their base, and that IoT data has to, although it's produced just in kilobytes, or maybe in bytes per sensor, but when you combine all up, that's like a huge chunk of data, which out of it practically 80% is just garbage. But that 20% is useful, and you need that to be in your SQL server. You need to query that database. If you're putting that in a database, that's a big investment. If you're putting it in a repository on-premise, that again is a big investment. But if you're putting that in a repository in a compressed format on the cloud, not so much. because cloud, AWS and Azure both offers huge amounts of data lakes, data storage facilities, and you can have like different tiers of hot, cold, and you can just leave it there. So the access is not required to be accessed forever, but probably you think you might access it in a year or two, maybe 5 years. You might retain that file. So it also supports your audit purposes. So your IT auditor will also be happy that way. So this is all combining, and IoT and IoT is entered into the industrial segment, whereby everything is automated practically from logistics to manufacturing to supply chain, from pipelines and everything else. So whatever we are utilizing, that machine is connected into a certain system, and that's SCADA systems are going big on IoTs. So this is something that is going on, and we are living in it. We are part of it right now. Now IDC predicts, this is a little bit of a, I think it came in last year or something, but IDC predicts that the MEA region IoT market would reach about $17.6 billion by 2023, which is about a couple of years from now. And we are already seeing the immense growth of what's going on in the entire region. Now, again, coming back to the core of it, you cannot do it without connectivity. Now, you have got certain business initiatives, like we call that digital transformation, but you have got certain business objectives. If you break it down completely, how it looks like, how does your digital transformation looks like? So basically you have business objectives, and you need certain technology and tools to achieve that. Now, your business objectives can be the ones listed here, it can be something else completely, or it can be added to this one. But what one thing is common is you cannot make the kind of investment in the tools and technology that you would want to achieve these business objectives. If you want to do that on a private data center, on-prem, or probably the one in your city, what will happen is you will end up spending a lot of money on the compute, then a lot of money on the software, then a lot of money on the guys, on the resources who will actually be running that. Now, I'm not talking about the application guys. I'm talking about the guys who will be maintaining your infrastructure, basically patching up, making sure there's no virus, making sure there's no DDoS attacks, making sure it's completely safe. Now, simple cross-site scripting can plummet the entire system, entire web application. We know that it's out there. So to have all of these controls and whatnots, you end up spending millions in just setting up that infrastructure, just to make sure you have got your own IoT engine, you've got your own machine learning algos, or even if you have got Azure Stack deployed. Still, it needs a lot of hardware, it needs a lot of maintenance and stuff. But if you put all of that in the cloud, you can forget about it. You just pay for what you use. You have got lots of flexibility and whatnot. I'm not trying to sell you cloud, but I'm just trying to tell you this is where the two aspects are. Now, how do you guarantee that you are actually connected to your cloud and you're getting the SLAs on that? You're getting the right kind of connectivity, the right amount of service that you need. This is where GBI comes in. Especially from the region, from the Middle East region, from the GCC region, specifically, what we do is we make sure that we connect you to one of our POPs. If you're in the UAE, if you're in Saudi, if you're in Bahrain, if you're in Oman, we connect you to our closest POP. You can choose the last mile. It can be ADSL, it can be MPLS. I'm going to show you in coming slides of how that varies, but you can choose your last mile. But we bring you to our POP, and after that we just stitch you to our MPLS and we take you forward. And that's how we are able to bring the costs down for your connectivity. So if you're having $500,000 worth of investment in your cloud, that's annual. It makes no sense to have another $500,000 invested in the connectivity. What you might want to do is you might want to have like probably 25% of that. So yeah, $100,000 in cloud, in the connectivity justifies the entire investment, but not another 500,000. And that's what I'm going to be explaining you in coming slides, how to avoid that. Now, that's a very common connectivity scenario. within the GCC regions especially. So we all know MPLS is expensive, super expensive in some cases. If you go, and then if you go with the redundancy, if you go with the backup, so you've got one MPLS and another MPLS, and probably you might choose two providers. For in case of UAE, you might choose Do It, Salat. In Saudi, you might choose STC, you might choose Zain. And one, you can choose Redo or OneTel. But again, you're investing the same amount of money, so can be a little bit of difference here and there, $100, $200 here and there per month, but you end up spending the same amount of money. Now the pros, having said that, MPLS is super. I mean, I've got nothing against MPLS. MPLS is the preferred mode of connectivity. That's a given for the banks, for oil and gas, for the governments, for mostly because of it's the best and the most secure as it's point-to-point connectivity, and nothing is better than that. And you got your guaranteed latency, you've got your reliability, all of these things are there, yes. But with the changing scenario of network and having compute intensive resources, and that is consuming and transferring a lot of data from point A to point B. Now that's where it becomes a challenge, because let's say you have got like a 10 Mbps, a 10 MB MPLS link between your point A to point B, and now you added some new software because your business needs it and whatnot, and suddenly your MPLS connection is not enough. Now you need practically about 50 MB, and what would happen is the telco will come back and they'll charge you, if not 5 times more, at least 2 times more, and that is where the entire sort of this the ROIs start to disappear, because a lot of your IT budget has been consumed by the network itself. So that brings me to the cons, which is expensive, of course, high TCOs, absolutely no ROIs. You're just paying for your peace of mind given. Then you got less options of connectivity and QoS and whatnot. Then you've got single point of failure if you've got just one MPLS connectivity. Now, I've seen with some of my customers, they did had a cut in their MPLS and the business was down for a couple of hours, which is not good because they were a financial institution and they did face a bit of a trouble because of that. Again, as I mentioned, if you want to scale out, see if you want to go redundant, it's obviously very costly. That brings me to what we can do to help. Now, I'm not going to sell you the concept of what we can do and how we do it. I just want you to understand from your perspective. So you as an IT director, as an IT manager, as a CIO, if you're responsible to do the budgets as well as provide the best of connectivity, what are you looking at and what best can you do? So obviously you will be segregating your workloads for one, from critical and non-critical, moving them aside. This is one. The second that you will do is you will look for the best connectivity option that can actually do the job, and it should be as secure as an MPLS if you want to bring down the cost. So that brings us to GBI. Now we have built some very specific offerings which keeps us, makes us a little bit better than the regular SD-WAN providers, but at the same time, we utilize the SD-WAN as a platform for this entire solution that we have built for the organizations. If you feel like comparing us or putting us in a place where you say, okay, this is an SD-WAN provider, so that is what GBI is absolutely not. So we have got our own global network of MPLS, which connects you to your DRs and to your international offices, as well as to the cloud of your choice. At the same time, we leverage the features of the SD-WAN itself. Now, what SD-WAN does for you, how does that branch function, or how does your head office function? So let's say we place an SD-WAN, we hook it up with a regular internet line, ADSL line. Now, I don't have to tell you the different bit of the cost between an MPLS and an ADSL and the bandwidth. Now, what we do is we place the CPE in your premises And from there, we build a QoS/overlay tunnel over using internet as an underlay. And we build a symmetric tunnel, keep it open, or we can cap it. That's the choice that you have to make. But we build that overlay tunnel over your ADSL, and then we transfer your data from there to our POP. From our POP, we stitch it into an MPLS on a VLAN, and then we transfer. So now you have a dedicated pipe all the way going to the cloud or going to your data centers at a fraction of a cost. So from here all the way to the other side, and this is what you're getting from GBI. Now, my apologies, I forgot to mention. Please keep sending questions if you have any. I'll be happy to answer if I can during the presentation. Otherwise, we'll definitely revert back to you as soon as we can. Probably 24 hours is a good time after we finish this webinar. So any questions, please feel free to post. I want to make it completely sort of interactive from our side. Coming back to GBI solutions, so the SD-WAN, as an SD-WAN provider, we offer your branch-to-branch connectivity in a hub and spoke mesh networks, whatever you prefer. And then if you want to connect the branch offices individually to the cloud, we can do that. If you want to make sure that all the branches connecting into the HQ, and then the traffic exits into the cloud or to the internet, we provide an internet breakout as well. And you might see those black locks that represent security, and I'm going to explain you in just a bit about the security that we offer and how we secure it and what platform we use. Some of the other factors how we are enabling, or we are helping organizations to take the right initiative going digital. Now there's a buzz in the market. If you're not online, if you're not digital, you're losing out and you're risking your business, because I mean, you're just prone to security errors and probably hacks and whatnot. So what we do is we provide you with the seamless and secure connectivity to your branches, to your cloud, to your international branches. We are transport agnostic. We simplify the WAN management through our exclusive portal. It gives you the complete view. You can monitor your applications. You can assign a certain bandwidth to your applications. Let's say, for example, you've got like 3 main applications running, which is your line of business, your emails, and your regular internet surfing. And you've got a line on SD-WAN from us for 100 megabytes. Now, what you do is you get to do the QoS on that tunnel itself. So you build, for example, 50 MB for your line of business because that's most important for you. And then you can have like 20 MB for your emails, and then probably another 10 MB for the regular surfing or XYZ application. From the application awareness perspective, we have got close to about 4,000 applications whitelisted, and you have an option to whitelist your own application in there. You can add your application. You can make sure that you're always connected. So this is for the custom built application or something that you're using over the cloud. Connecting into the cloud, we provide a virtual CPEs which you can connect directly into. And you can have a branch-to-branch experience. This is in case if you want the end-to-end monitoring. That is not really ideal for most of the customers, because most of the customers would want to have the firewalls on the other side, which are provided by the cloud and whatnot. But again, it's a possibility. Talking about on-premise deployment, we enable that too. If you're having more than about 500 branches. So obviously you would want to own the management of it and support it and be able to make sure that you are owner of it and you're monitoring. So that is something that we can potentially help you with if you have a certain niche request. Now the portal gives you a complete access of your entire organization, your entire connectivity. You can control the bandwidth, you can control the QoS. And it comes as a sort of a multi-tenant platform. So in some cases, organizations who have got multiple sister concerns and they have got their finance who's managing the cost for everyone, and every other organization is a cost center / profit center. They will be able to manage them by assigning the different branches as another tenant within the service. Along with that, we support. Let me jump down to security. This is something very important, guys. Must be looking at it. So yes, end-to-end connectivity is fine. We secure SD-WAN box, and all of these features comes built in. But what it really is this is something very, very useful for you if you look at the security features that we offer. So you have an option to select. You can have a stateful firewall, you can have a next-gen firewall, or you can have a UTM. Now UTM are usually banking standard secure. So basically, if you're a financial organization looking into having a backup connectivity for your MPLS, yes, you can utilize that because this will give you the exact sort of features that is required. Now, a next-gen firewall will have all the features in the stateful firewall. UTM will have all the features of previous two. You can have your perimeter firewall. You can deploy this as perimeter firewall. So what I'm trying to bring to you is basically if you are planning to invest in a firewall and then you're planning to invest in a connectivity solution, what we can offer you is best of both and at a single price. So you do not have to look into multiple different options. You don't have to deal with multiple different vendors. And we are one of the top SD-WAN providers according to Gartner. So they have assessed it, they have analyzed it, they've put us in the leaders in the Magic Quadrant. You can go and look it up on the Gartner report if you want. We can share that with you as well. We have got AES 256-bit security. We have got advanced firewall features, DDoS, and everything else. Now, what features does this CPEs offer? CPE is basically customer premises equipment, normally called as customer equipments or CEs. So we do the connectivity, like I mentioned, hub and spoke and mesh network, spoke to spoke, direct connectivity if you've got just two branches, or you want to connect to two branches only and nothing else. Then you can have a local or centralized internet breakout. You can have multiple uplinks. This box, the device that we provide, comes in different shapes and sizes, and it has got different feature sets. So the recent one can take up to 8 links, which can be a mix of MPLS, ADSL, DIAs, LTEs, whatever you prefer. And if you've got some remote site, you don't have the connectivity there, you can just place an LTE box there, which will be able to connect to your site. For example, with the construction sites, they keep moving, and some of them are not very compute intensive, and they can do away with an LTE. You can put a couple of SIM cards in an SD-WAN box, and you're good to go. Your branch is up and running. Then we have got application-aware routing, as I mentioned, 4,000 plus applications. You can go and you can add your own if you want to. If you've got policy-based, role-based access, you can assign a certain admin to do a certain job and certain admin to do something else. We've got QoS. That's not new because most of the firewalls do have that already. Then it's plug-and-play deployment, and that's the best part of it, because what we do is once you finalize that you need certain number of CPEs and whatnot, we ship the CPEs to you in the ready modes. What you need to do is just plug it into power and plug in an ADSL link, and you're good to go with that. Once it's plugged in, the CPE will, the system, the gateway will send a link. You just need to click that link and it'll be online. Some of the network analytic features. Now, this is rather important for the organizations who are looking into monitoring their own systems. So they want to make sure they have got like a complete view of what's going on. So this is the stuff that you can get from the portal itself. You can have your network security and application usage. You can monitor that. You can drill down to it, you can get your reports, and you can get your analytics from here. You can get the audit reports, you can get different sort of like customized reports that you want to generate. If you're using a multi-tenant feature, you can generate for your different tenants who are utilizing it. As I mentioned, different branches. If you have a sister concerns, if you're managing, you can use that. You can do actionable insights whereby you can the system can identify you via an SMS or an email of if there is any outage, and you can manage it. You can set some protocols to interfere with it. Now, having said that, most of you attending this event would obviously have the MPLS connectivity in place, and your organization is obviously mature, and they're not looking into changing anything, and we completely understand that. We don't want you to change anything, but look at it from a little bit of a different perspective. So we have some of the very sort of popular uses that most of our customers use it for is, first of all, I have not mentioned here, dev and test. Works like a charm. You don't have to invest a lot of money because dev and test is just dev and test. Second is data migration and synchronization. Again, data migration, if you're moving into the cloud, if you recently adopted cloud and you've got a couple of terabytes or a couple of petabytes of data that you need to sync into the cloud, that is something that you can use without burdening your existing MPLS connectivity, or without going to upgrade it. So let's say you're running on a 10 MB MPLS, which you're happy with, IPVPN, but if you start pushing a petabyte of data, it will obviously slow down. So this is one of the use cases. Utilize ADSL, a couple of links, and you should be able to get close to about 100 megabytes of connectivity into the cloud, and you can synchronize your data as and when you need. You can do batch process or real-time sync. Branch connectivity is another important thing. Companies are expanding. They would want to connect their branches quickly. So with utilizing SD-WAN and the internet, you should be able to get your branch up to speed very, very fast, against ordering an MPLS, which will take site survey and then which will take another 4 weeks as their RFS or the time for delivery. You can get your branch practically up and running just by plugging in 4G, and you can start working. The last one, but the most important one, is the backup connectivity. Now we know, since it's just connectivity, just cables going from one place to the other, they're prone to breaking. Even in ADSL link, it goes down sometime. So what we recommend, and this is one of the most popular scenarios for most of our customers, is they always want to have the main link for which they're running their business on obviously MPLS, which they're willing to invest, they've budgeted for it, but at the same time having a backup on something which is equally secure, equally faster, equally reliable, but not as expensive. So this is one of the scenarios that most of our customers adopted for, including the cloud connectivity. Even if they're using ExpressRoute Direct or AWS Direct Connect or Fast Connect, they still want to utilize this as their backup, just in case one connection fails, you have got an option to switch to the other. And at the same time, what you can do with the smart software within the CPE, you can run it in active mode, so basically sending non-critical data on the ADSL and critical data via the MPLS. So you can run it in an active passive, failover, fail-safe, whatever scenario you would like. We can make that happen, and it works beautifully in your production as well. So I mean, if you prefer just to use it for as your primary connection, some of our major customers are utilizing that functionality as well, and they're happy about with the connectivity. And with that, we conclude this webinar, and I would like to thank you again for your time. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ping myself or Caroline directly. We'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions.